Hello everyone and welcome back to Nagash, channel dedicated to Age of Sigmar, and in this video it's going to be me just doing a little flick through and a bit of a review of the Art of Death book, which is a book that came out for the anniversaries of stores around the world for Games Workshop, where you could order it on that day. So it's a limited edition book, which makes it all quite nice. Now, as this video is also the first live video I'm doing to be reviewing a book or something like that, using the stand for the camera slash iPhone I've got here to record this. It's going to be a little bit of experimentation, mainly because I want to see how it goes reviewing books in terms of how things are shining. As you can see at the moment, you can see some of my paints in the background because I spent a bit of time trying to set this up so you don't see that, but you know, we had to have some compromises. And I know I said I was going to start recording this earlier, however, things came up and it couldn't be avoided. But for now, this will do and it will be improved next time. And it's trying to just get better camera quality and stuff in this. So like I say, boom experimentation. However, also be reviewing the, like I said, the Art of Death book, which is literally just a book full of artwork that you've probably seen a lot of it before. However, it really, I think, is really nice. Because, for example, for me personally, one of the things that inspired me to do Death is the artwork. And I didn't know a lot of the artists' names or anything like that. And it's all detailed in this book. I know you can get all that sort of stuff on the internet. However, I'm a fan of like limited collection books and all that sort of thing. So I didn't hesitate to buy this on the day where I could. So Pixel saying hi and Mira saying hi as well. Hi guys, how are you doing? How is your weekend going? Glad to hear that you came sixth in the tournament, Max. I think that's very good to hear. With the Gloom Spikes, I heard that you had a bad game against Aleo, and apologies about the camera shaking, guys. For me to be able to basically have this as zoomed out as it is, I have to put the stand on my shaky table, which I've described before, which is very shaky, and I need to buy a new table. So apologies if there's any shaking during this. I'll try and limit that best I can. But yeah, so if we, I'm just trying to see if I can. So the problem I've got with this is that when I try and so basically the camera's already mounted onto the stand. So when I try and edit anything, like try and zoom in or anything like that, I don't think you can do that. But when I try and like enhance stuff, I can't because there's like a massive clamp on top of the screen. So it's quite hard and it is a little bit annoying. What I'm going to do, guys, just bear with me just for a second. I am just going to take this out of the clamp and just see if I can play around just to try and get a bit of better quality for you guys, especially when I'm trying to show artwork and stuff. So like I say, very shaky that, but I'm just going to try and see if I can enhance things or if we are stuck with me needing to buy a camera at some point. Doesn't look like I can zoom in with this. Well, I can zoom in, that's incorrect, but I can't focus from the looks of things, so that is quite annoying. Like I say, guys, I'm very new to this as much as you guys are watching this. If you guys got any suggestions, you can definitely put them in. But unfortunately, it doesn't seem like I can do any form of focus. You know, like when you've got a normal camera and you just click on the, well, I say normal camera, like a normal iPhone or something, you just click on the screen, try and focus on that point. It doesn't give you the option when you're recording stuff on YouTube, unfortunately. So yeah, a little bit annoying, but anyway, like we'll learn from this, won't we? So without any further ado, let me just try and set this up a bit better, how it was. Just be a bit like that. We can sort this out during the thing as well, so that's okay. Apologies, guys. Yeah, I know there's a bit of unprofessional stuff, but you know, we've all got to learn, haven't we? So why not learn it together? And then we can look at the great artwork of Death. So if I go, yeah, that practically covers the whole book. Okay, guys. So with this book, there's a little bit of text at the start. We'll get to once we open it, but just to show you it. So it's quite nice. It's got that nice feel to it. The same sort of feel you get when you get a limited edition book. If we look at, I don't know, the Skaven one as an example, it's got that nice feel to it, which is cool. And which is nice also because I think this book cost me about like £30 or something, or £20. I think it was 30 to be honest with you guys, but I was like, yeah, Art of Death, it's got my name now. I didn't even get to see what the pictures are like inside. I was like, yeah, I'm definitely going to be getting this. And then on the back, it's just got another one of the Nagash sort of symbols as well. So yeah, very nice book. Comes with a page mark and all that sort of thing, you know, shiny writing and all that. So let us have a look inside the book. Right, so the first one we get, one of those standard sort of, grey, blackened, final pages in the book, which is nice. Picture of Shire, got some sort of tower there and some cities, which is cool. And then going into the Art of Death, there's a little bit of a text here, and I'll be honest, it's the first time me ever really properly reading through this book. So what do we have here? So this is really the only sort of text we get in the book, but let's have a read through of it, shall we? Now, I hope the light isn't gleaming too much on the book. I hope you guys can see this. I probably can't read the text from here, but it's not all too much I can do with that. So anyway, it says, Order, Chaos, Destruction, Death. These are the grand alliances that define Warhammer Age of Sigmar. Through them we experience the vast enhanced landscapes, the myriad warlike cultures, and the unending brutal battle of the mortal realms. Death has ever been a constant of this setting, for it is both a natural result of the internal conflict as well as an active force in the struggle for total domination. But death takes on many forms, and it is through stunning artwork such as those collected on these pages that the legions of the underworld have been brought to life. It says, from portraits of single grim figures to images of sprawling undead armies, the artworks depicting death tell stories of horror, eldritch magic, and unholy malevolence that span the ages. Within the depictions of the skeletal legions, the rotting zombie horde, we have given a glimpse of the inglorious ends met by these lifeless warriors. Their risen remains bear the scars of killing blows, as well as decapitated of lying centuries in unmarked mass graves. Yet it is the soulless malice that is captured in the expression of these undead soldiers that truly speak to the horrors of death. For those, many of the animated corpses are bereft of sentence. They all unquestionably agents of the necromantic masters. Alongside the artwork that shows the multitudes, I'll be honest guys, like I said before, I am a massively severe dyslexic, so if I get any words wrong, I do apologise. But anyway, so let's start that again. Alongside the artwork that show the multitudes, we're just going to go there, undead, are those explore the more bizarre forms that death can take. In terms, we see the ghoulish creatures of the flesh-eater courts, mortals consumed by madness and driven by cannibalistic hunger. We are also shown nightmarish creatures such as the the Mortis Engine and the Coven Throne, vessels of bone and sawn born aloft of howling spirits and hex wraiths. Bursts hatred, and we look upon the death images weaving their grim magic, vampires wallowing in gore and excess, and in the carcasses of terrifying beasts that have been transformed into Mormid mounts. Some of the most captifying images of death are those of Nagash and his Mortarks, for in these are shown the true power of death holds over the mortal realms. Not just unholy sorceress of mighty warlords, these are figures who have shaped the fate of the realms over countless centuries. From Nagash's alliance with Sigmar in the Age of Myth to the betrayal of the God King during the Realm Gate Wars to the time of tribulations and ensuring Shaish's Necroquake, the great necromancer and his generals are beings of immense power and history. This, just to clarify something, it was Sigmar that betrayed Nagash, not the other way around. We can move on. Yet it's perhaps those works depicting Shaiish, the realm of death, that have the most enhancing. In them we see a series of landscapes through which the realms is explored in all its grim glory across Imlik Barrens, Mausoleum cities, petrified battlegrounds. These artworks serve to memorize the sorrow, horror, and uniqueness, malice of death. So that's basically the text going into this book. Now, we've already got like a little bit of artwork here. Like I said, I apologise that it's a little bit blurry. It's annoyed about this. We've got Age of Sigmar. Is this a limited release? It is a limited release. I'm not a little bit too sure where we stand on if we can record sort of like, open book, viewings of, Games Workshop books and stuff. But how I look at it is that this book is no longer available, so it's not really like copyright or anything like that, because they're not cheating them out of money because they don't sell this anymore. So that's how I look at it. And yeah, it is annoying they don't sell it anymore, but here we are, and let's have a look at some of this artwork. Pardon me. What they do actually say in the description of this text and stuff, they say like how this all shows off Shrike. A lot of this artwork, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, a lot of this artwork is from like the vampire counts, artwork and all that sort of thing from the world that was. Not gonna lie, they haven't done a whole book full of fresh new artwork. That's not what this is, but it's a really nice collection of all that artwork put together. Okay, so we're gonna go through, and I think the first one, yep, of course, is Nagash by Paul Dayton, I believe it's pronounced. I hope it is pronounced like that. I don't want to get any of these artists' names wrong, and I do apologise. But this is, if we, let's see if this makes anything better on the book. Does it make it a bit easier to see? So this is a picture obviously of Nagash. This is great because it's one of his traditional sort of artworks which depict, a portrait of someone. There's also another one we'll see in here. I've got one of Neferata, we've got one of Manfred, we've got one of Arkan. I think they're the main ones for like the faces up close, like his Mortarks and himself. And this came out obviously in the end times, stuff like that. And it doesn't show the whole embodiment of Nagash, but I really quite like the style of this work. Like Paul Dayton is my favourite GW artist, fantasy art and all that sort of thing, because I do really like his pictures. A lot of them are quite, they're not sketches at all, but they have that sort of flair to them. They're not like, as far as I'm aware, they're not, the sort of computer generated, like artwork, not computer generated, but artwork that's done on a computer. It's not like that at all, as far as I'm aware, and it has like a nice sort of like human sort of presence to it, really, than it being done on a computer. So that is the Nagash one, and then moving on. So here we have like some of that more computer aided stuff, and I don't know if that is the correct term to describe this, if it is computer aided or not, but it definitely has a more, how would you say, a shiny feel to it. And I know we've got like the shiny Stormcast armor and all that sort of thing. That's not really what I mean. What I mean is that it really has a sort of a glow to it, and I don't mean in a bad way, but we compare it to like something like that. Let me just get the page. That one. I just feel this was more natural tones and all that, which is personal I prefer. But anyway, this is very nice as well. This is obviously from Soul Wars that most of us have seen this artwork, if not all of us. And this is by Mark Holmes. I like it as well. I like all the artwork in this book, and it obviously shows the Stormcast. What's that bloody chamber called that they brought up with the souls of the executors and stuff? Sacrotent chamber, that's it, versus the Nighthorn, when the Nighthorn came out. And also this artwork, nice thing about this artwork is this came out before the Soul Wars box set did. So we all got a glimpse of going, oh, these are the new death models coming out. Oh, what is that? Is that just a new, Calm Wraith? No, it turned out to be a whole unit of Grimglass Reapers we know now. What is that? What is this guy? And my thoughts were, what is that horse, and what is the tax characteristic going to be like? Is it going to be like, the undead version of that, or the undead version of a Drake officer? Oh my god, this is going to be awesome. And then it turns out its attacks are really quite crap, which is very unfortunate. But, and then we got the Executioner, we got, the JMS Horbs and so on, and then we got all the Stormcast models that look exactly the same. So, yeah, that's a nice picture. Going on to the next one, we have more Soul War stuff. So we have from Malign Portents, and this from Ignore Sid. I say more Soul War stuff, that's not really true. This is from obviously Malign Portents, and when I say the difference between why it's not Soul Wars, is because Malign Portents came out quite a bit of time before Soul Wars. It came out, it was, I think it was in between like November and February sort of time, or December, or no, that's a lie. It came out in February, Malign Portents, of 2018 from memory. because I remember there being a countdown on our website to say like, oh, there's going to be a big release coming on the end of this countdown. What's it going to be? What's it going to be? And then it was like a website of talking about the lore and Mortal Realms, which is cool. But we were all expecting brand new models, and in particular brand new death models. This before any of the Nighthaunt stuff came out, and we just had the Night of Shrouds that came out. So this artwork came out long before we know about all the Nighthaunt stuff that was going to be released and everything else that came out with it. Because the exciting thing about this was the fact that what are all these things? Are these just like like the pessimists amongst us, and that's probably myself included, I was thinking, oh, they're just skeletons with cloaks on or something. It's just when artwork doesn't actually reflect what models are available. Very much like the back of the artwork for the War Scroll cards, it costs quite a few things on there, like monsters and stuff that aren't actually models. I thought it was going to be like that again, like cool, but doesn't actually transform into a material model, if you like. But we knew this guy was coming out. However, we all know these guys. I believe that is actually pardon me. I believe that is actually a skeleton warrior there. But we know like these are Chainmass Hordes. That is a Gungas Reaper. It all has a purpose now, but we didn't know that at the time. And it's very much when you look back at things like this, and just like hindsight is a brilliant thing because you can depict all this other stuff. So yeah, so each one of these artwork, even though they're just a picture, I can say, oh, that's very pretty. Moving on to the next one. Most of them do have a story behind it, and to be honest, when I say most of them, I mean they all have a story behind it. I only know the story for most of them, but no. So I do like that, and that is cool because, like I said, everything that came out after that was beautiful. And I do have the Souls box. I have some Nighthaunt stuff, but I don't really have that much. It is an army I am going to have to do at some point with my death, because I'll be honest, at the moment with my death, that's, although I've got other things maybe focusing on, like my Sinesh army for Armies on Parade, I want to try and get that done for that, and I will be getting that done if all goes well. I am very much, my motivation, my heart's very much into my death stuff at the moment, and my death stuff's all pretty much done. So I'd have to buy more. A Nighthaunt would probably be the route I went with it, if not Blood Knights or something. Well, I do like Blood Knights, but I don't have any yet, and I really like the models, but they're just resin and they're not very well made, unfortunately. But no, so Nighthaunt's something I could do in the future, because like with death, that's where my heart and soul is. I usually, basically with death, is like sort of the first army I do, and then I will, after a year or so, I will then split off into another direction and do another army. And then that other army, I might really like it, I might stick with it and all that sort of thing, or I might sell it. And it doesn't matter what I do, if I stick with it or sell it, I will then at some point circle back around to death, and then expand that a little bit more, and then I'll go off to do another army, and then same thing, I'll keep it, like it, or sell it, and then I'll just circle back around to death, do another army, circle back around to death. Death is the centre of everything that I do in my hobby, so I do always revert to it, and for me it's a lot of nostalgia behind it, all that sort of thing. Like one of the things I'm looking at doing at the moment is get like a really old like metal zombie dragon model, which is obviously not in any way, shape or form up to the standard of the new zombie dragon. When I say new zombie dragon, I mean like the latest zombie dragon. The fleshy courts and whatnot. It doesn't match up to that at all. It's metal, it's a pain in the ass to put together, it'll break all the time. It's, ugly in comparison to looks. However, nostalgic wise, I really, 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 really want this old metal undead zombie dragon, because I saw it when I was a kid, couldn't afford it, anything like that. I don't know, it was like, what, £30 or something? And it was just a case of me just I can't afford that or anything, but I'd really, really like that. I think it'd be absolutely awesome to get one of those old, out of production zombie dragons, but I couldn't afford one. And now, later in life, well, now I can afford one. I would quite like one, but people on eBay want to sell them for ridiculous amounts of prices and stuff, so we'll see. But it could be something cool. But anyway, that's a bit of a distraction. But what I was trying to say is that each of these pictures, do have a story behind them. If you have just joined us, we are looking at the Art of Death, which is a limited edition art book for Age of Sigmar that came out, which features Warhammer Fantasy Vampire Count artwork, and also, Death artwork, Legion of Nagash artwork, Nighthaunt artwork, Fleshy Court, all that sort of stuff in Age of Sigmar. And it's a nice limited edition book, and like I say, because it's limited edition, games will show so anymore, I don't see any problems in me being able to flick through it and showing each page. Look, with stuff like that, it's a case of, if it is, illegal and there's not many do copyright reasons and stuff, YouTube can ban this video, I don't care. But I thought it'd be nice to show some of you guys who couldn't get this book. So here we have one of the favourites of all the undead characters in existence, and most of you will agree with this. And this is because it is a Vlad von Carstein, and what we have here, it says Vlad von Carstein and Courtiers by Alex Boyd. So we have obviously Vlad, the man, the myth, the legend is right here before us. One of the best vampires, like I say, ever. He was, if you know what Manfred's like, and if you don't know what Manfred's like, yeah, Manfred is a von Carstein, like Vlad, but Manfred does care a bit more for himself, a bit more self-centered, and more about self-preservation than Vlad ever was. And the fact that Vlad actually gave up his life to try and save his beloved. So, you know, Vlad is very much of a gentleman. Manfred's great, but he is, you know, a bit of an arsehole. But no, so we have Vlad here. Unfortunately, Vlad isn't any longer with us anymore. He died, didn't he? There's always a hope that he could come back, maybe in the Boner packs. The pack of bones, whatever that was broken, that they've done a recent, you know, tease to us at the Warhammer Age of Sigmar Open Day. However, I believe that's more going to be in the lines of like undead ogres or something. Maybe could be cool, but we will some of that as Vlad come back, but I don't think it is. But what I like about this, it shows all different types of vampires and their creatures, from the ghoulish creatures we have down here to the sort of, you know, what we would call today flesh eater court sort of creatures here, who are more strigoyle in, you know, nature, abhorrent ghoul kings, those sorts of things, to the have things like you know, blood knights we can see here and here. We can see more von Carstein styled vampires with this one and some of them over here. And I want to say that's a Larmian, but it's not. It's going to be a von Carstein. Might be Isabella. I'm not too sure for certain. But no, so another nice piece of art there. And then this is a very nice classic piece of artwork, isn't it? Which is simply called The Zombie Horde by Karl Kobitsky, I believe that is pronounced. Yeah, which is embodiment, everything you fear of the zombies. I mean, like, obviously you look at the zombie war scroll, and what if you have a unit of 10 of them? They're really quite crap, apart from being a bubble wrap unit. Although direwolves are better. But you know, they don't really mean anything. But if you've got a big block of zombies, they can actually do quite a lot of damage. And I think that is depicted in this artwork, because what we have here is literally just pure fear of, obviously we've got these ones here, but you can see it on the screen. You can see just how they go on and go on and go on endlessly, all the way into over there. And the nice thing, what I think is cool about this, is that they use what models have for hand weapons and stuff in quite a lot of cases. Like, for example, we see this over here, which is a their banner, which is basically a pole with a spike on it, and then two spikes coming here. But on both these spikes are like decapitated like arms, like limbs and stuff, which is actually their banner for them in the game, which I think is quite cool. And we've got, you know, like a spike and stuff going out of this guy's you know, traps there, you know, his muscles, and that spike reminds me a lot of the sort of the pike, you know, spear slash fork thing, almost a trident, that the Corpse Master has on the corpse cart, you know, when he picks up that a zombie in the air, which I think is quite cool. And we have all diseased flesh and all that. And what I also like about this is that, because I've been reviewing quite a lot of Nurgle lately, and obviously been looking at that artwork, this is all, you know, like, you know, we've got cracked skulls, blood coming out, we got, you know, like glazed white eyes, you know, missing eye sockets, you know, skin peeling off, all that sort of thing. But it doesn't look diseased like Nurgle, it just looks undead and reanimated corpses. And I know that might seem like a bit of a weird thing what I'm bringing up here, but no, because Nurgle, I think Death and Nurgle, they're very similar. If you think about their appearance, you know, you've got diseased creatures that are life and abundant of life, being Nurgle, and then you've got undead creatures being, you know, all part of Death and Legions and Nagash and vampire counts and whatnot. And you know, they both involve a lot of heavy elements, and I think it's probably quite hard and quite a thin line to try and divide them, and I think they've done a very good job of that here, because it doesn't look diseased and all that sort of thing and bloated like Nurgle. It just looks undead. I know that's like a little very precise thing I'm bringing up, but it's something that I think makes a difference, and so it doesn't all just look the same, if you like. And I think they do a good job of making sure that's not the case here, and this artwork's been with us for a long time, so I do like it. Now, something a bit more modern, which is simply called Nighthawk by Catherine O'Connor, and I like that name, so I can pronounce it. We've got, this was part of the Soul Wars trailer, as far as I'm aware, the artwork trailer that came out from it, because I do remember, which an awesome trailer. If you haven't already seen it, I did do a review on that trailer, you can always go back to see that on the channel. But what we've got here is we've got a Sacrosanct Stormcast, who is a Secretor. I'm going to go with that, that's what I believe it is. There's the shield and then the mace, who are overpowered Liberators, because Liberators apparently weren't good enough. We have a Lord Arcanum, are they called, there. And then we have some other annoying Stormcasts here and there. And then we've got a Grimghast Reaper here. What I would call a Grimghast Reaper there, however, is wielding an axe, where it looks like it's dwarven made. It looks a little bit like Gimli's axe from Lord of the Rings, which I'm not really too sure what that's about. However, it's a cool work of art. And also, what's cool about this work of art is that, like I said, it was in that Soul Wars teaser trailer, and Soul Wars is really when Age of Sigmar started taking a dark turn. Because Age of Sigmar is a age of where mass genocide is a thing, ethnic cleansing is a thing. You know, it looks all bright and colourful, but you know, ethnic cleansing does happen a lot, and it's sort of accepted as part of what goes on in Age of Sigmar, which, you know, you think about that as quite dark. However, the artwork was very bright, very vibrant, all that sort of thing. And then Soul Wars came along. And Soul Wars did a great job of making the art, instead of really bright and vibrant like we have on a lot of the earlier stuff in Age of Sigmar, it started making it a bit more gritty, more dirty, more grainy, more dark, more like sinister, if you like. I think that's a nice word to use, for sinister. And you know, insidious. So what they did in part of their artwork is that they made it look a bit more, I don't want to say like sketchy again, that's not, I feel like that doesn't give it credit to the artists who have done these amazing bits of artwork, but they've made it, instead of it just being like that green being incredibly bright and bold and just standing in your face, and that blue being really bright and vibrant like they do with the if you imagine the original artwork that came out for Age of Sigmar, that we've got for the starter box, that we've got, you know, the Khorne forces fighting off against the Stormcast forces with the Lord Citizen on Draco, Fergus, Kulgus Cole, all that sort of thing. This is a lot more nicer. It just feels a lot more realistic. And yes, I know, I appreciate there's two ghosts flying around here, one with Gimli's axe and then one with a huge mace. Not a mace, sorry, a huge scythe. And then we've got, you know, super being humans basically here with maces. I know that's not realistic is what I'm trying to say, and then this spooky guy, but it does feel like a more realistic tone and more scary tone. Less, not that this isn't kids friendly, but it feels like less kids friendly, if you know what I mean. Less of a kids game, which I think is cool. And like I say, the reason why I'm bringing that up now is because these are one of the first artwork pictures we saw of this. What came out before, well, an announcement of Soul Wars and in announcement of second edition, really. So that's that one. Now moving on to this one. This is so this is My Importance by Jonan Grenier. That's probably a really simple name, I just can't pronounce it. But okay, another cool bit of artwork here is because some people might not have seen this. I mean, I've seen it and stuff, and I think most people probably have. But with this artwork anyway, it was sort of, I think it was like on the Warhammer community page, but they didn't show it, didn't go like on the front of any boxes or anything like that. So, I don't know, to me it feels like it was quite hidden away. But what we got here is some My Importance, and this was obviously back in the day when Nagash, I say back in the day, it doesn't feel like that long ago, but it was quite a while ago now, it was about a year and a half ago. Or probably more like a year ago, to be honest. Anyway, what we have here are the forces of order, chaos, and destruction teaming up to take on Nagash, to stop Nagash doing his like doomsday device, which was his way to try and wipe out all afterlives and all life in the mortal realms. However, tried to do that before, pretty much, with the Tomb Kings before they became the Tomb Kings. But it was very different then because the pyramid was a normal black pyramid. Very different. Now, upside down black pyramid, completely different, very original from Games Workshop. Very much like Star Wars with the Death Star. They just can't seem to pass that idea of that being the big threat, which I think there's like the Deathwing virus or something in Star Wars. It's just like a zombie plague, which I think would be absolutely awesome if they did that. But that's something else. Going back to Age of Sigmar, what is really cool about this is, so that's a world-ending event, if you like, from Nagash. He proposes a threat to everyone else with that. But if he succeeded with that, he would wipe out all willpower in the mortal realms. That would make the Chaos Gods cease to exist. So really, Chaos obviously wants to stop this, but Destruction, they're fine. They're sort of doing their own thing. They're doing this. It's fine, isn't it? But Order, Stormcast, Sigmar always proclaims to be the good guys. We're doing this, trying to make everything under control and order and that sort of thing, and trying to make happiness and peace, and we're the good guys. Well, these guys, the Skeletal dude, Skeletal over here, he is offering to destroy Chaos Gods. Yes, every one of these has to turn into one of these for that to happen, but Chaos will be destroyed. All their evil will be gone. These guys are like, no, I don't want you taking my glory. We're the good guys, you're the bad guys. And this is a very subjective view, and that's how we're going to portray it in the lore. So blah, 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 here's a hammer to the face. Which is not very nice, because little Skeletal here, he doesn't want to fight, he hasn't got a raised weapon, has he? He's not asking for this. And also, they invaded Shaiish. They haven't even invaded anyone yet. These people are invading their home. He probably gave his life to save his family and his village. And then we have a Bob the Stormcast over here going to smash his skull in because he doesn't like where he came from. So technically, it's racist, and probably he wanted to enslave them, so slavery as well. So not very good here from the likes of the Stormcast. Again, not surprised to see here. I believe one of these is putting their finger up or something. So again, it's abusive language being transferred into the text of this. Not the fault of the artist, but the fault of the Stormcast. He just can't help it. This guy's arrogant as anything. That guy probably hit a child. it's not very nice showing from the Stormcast here, especially when you have like Bob the Skeletal over there, just trying to do a good day's work for Nagash, and he works for free for Nagash as well. And this is the stuff he gets in return. So, sorry, a bit of a rant there saying why the Stormcast are terrible, I don't think you can even call them people at this point, just terrible. Not like immortals, but more lines of like terrible creatures, if you like, creations of a mad, god being. Sigmar's not really a god, is he? But he's just a pain in the arse who treats himself as one. Anyway. Now we can move on from that, but there's a bit kind of distracted here. The cool matter of this was the fact that we had Destruction, Order, and Chaos actually teaming up to defeat the other faction, being Death. And say the other faction, I mean like the other Grand Alliance. And when I say teaming up, I mean very much like I think it's portrayed quite well here in the artwork as well, because we have Destruction and Order fighting quite closely together. They would do that, they'd put aside their differences to crack on that, they wouldn't attack each other, but you have Chaos over here. It might just be because of the page divider, but I don't believe so. They've actually got quite a bit of distance from the Stormcast to show that they've a mutual agreement not to attack each other whilst they take out this threat. Rather than saying we'll work together, it's like, we just won't kill you. I don't think it's a case of we won't kill you. I think it's more a case don't get too close. Don't give me a reason to kill you. And when I mean a reason, I mean don't get within 5 meters of my proximity. So a nice bit of art there with a story. Cool. And then we're going to move on to Nighthorn by Grant Griffin, and this is the one here. And the reason why I like this one is because Hexrace. How do I describe Hexrace? The underappreciative workhorse, if you like, of Nighthorn and Death. These were one of the first models of Nighthorn before we even knew Nighthorn was a thing. And then they don't receive much credit. People say they're not very good or the like. I actually quite like them. I've actually got 10 on sprue, and I might build them up. I might try and make a Nighthorn Hexrace file just to try and prove people wrong with them. I'm sure there's some people out there who like them, but people say a lot of bad things about them, how not worth points. They're not fantastic for their points, but they have came down points in the News Channel Hammer. And nice cool thing about this artwork, I haven't really seen much artwork of older models in Sigma, and it's nice to see that we have got that from the Hex race, and we also got some spirit hosts over here, and we got those Mirmon banshees there, and but the best thing beyond all with it, and obviously a Green Ghost Reaper there, or Calm Reaper, whichever that is, because that's quite hard to distinguish what they are, because they are basically the exact same model. Anyway, the best thing about this artwork here is the pure fact that the Stormcast are being overwhelmed here. Like he's dying. He's like it's probably a ghost going through him at this point, and it's like the soul is actually like leaving him, and because it's in the realm of Shroud and Nagash's presence very close by and whatnot, there's nowhere for his soul to go. It will just join the collection of this, and he will. Well, I say he will die horrible death. He is dying horrible death. He will just have the rest of eternity in suffering and pain for his traitorous act of being the Stormcast. That's cool. I think we've got like something here cutting into him there. He's dying. He's got a crossbow fighting against a skeletal horse, which will be behind this one. He's thinking he's outmatched. He's going to die a horrible death. This one here, the leader, he's abandoning. He's leaving his men to die. And I think that really embodies what a Stormcast is. It's very much like if you're the leader in the Stormcast, it's very much a case of my life is more important than everyone else's because I'm a focused, arrogant prick, and I'm going to let all my men die so I can escape to be a traitor for another day. I think that's very much what this artwork is trying to show. Again, that I was trying to show just how evil and bad the Stormcast are. I know it's meant to focus around death, but I think it really just pixelates just how much of the bad guys Stormcast are in this picture, rather than you might originally think when you see this, think, oh, it's the Nighthaunt that are the evil ones. But I think if you look a bit closer, if you read in between the lines, being been watching my stuff for a while, you'll know, like me, if you're smart enough, that the Stormcast are actually the evil guys here and not death. So there we go, moving on to the next one. And again, this is my importance, and this is by Pedro Nunzi, I believe that's pronounced. And again, so with this, another reason why I like this, I'm going to compare this one to, let's go back. I'm going to compare this one to this one. And that's because this came out before that picture from memory. And the cool thing about this is it was like, there was no new stuff for Death for ages or anything like that. It was very much empty and everything, and Death hadn't got any new models for absolutely ages, apart from some skeletons they got for Shadespire. Didn't really count. And then this came out from Line Porting. You think, oh, this is very much Death oriented, isn't it? We've got, my opinion, evidently a spirit host here, preying on this Stormcast. So that Stormcast doesn't look familiar. Does that mean Stormcast getting new models out? Shouldn't be surprised, obviously Stormcast can get new models. But it also gave the hope that if they're featuring Nighthaunt in this, for a Stormcast release, hopefully Nighthaunt or Death were going to get new models. And they did. So that's why I like this one. Right, and then we come to, obviously, the man himself. One of my favourite self-portraits. We've got Nagash by Ignore Sid. This is obviously the one that we've got on the front of the Legions of Nagash Battle Tome. People have modelled Nagash to be in this position, sitting on a throne with a book and a sword and whatnot, and it really does inspire the grand majesty of Nagash, and just him upon his throne, the Iron Throne, if you like, being held up by zombie corpses and all these sorts of things, and not like they're just dead in a line. They're like, this one's obviously animated, like holding them up, and then we got like a creature there, like looks like a bit like a demon because it's got horns. That's a bit interesting. But then we've got all the spirit hosts and whatnot all around, which is very cool. I won't talk too much about this one mainly because we've all seen it before, haven't we? It's on the front of the bloody Legions of the Cash book. But I don't mean not to talk about it in a way that's not very good. It's lovely, but we've all seen it countless times. Now this one by Paul Danton is called Manfred von Carstein. So we have Manfred von Carstein there. And basically, Manfred, if you guys don't know much about fantasy, he was around in the world that was. This was his skeletal horse. So it wasn't a big monster or anything, but it was a very big undead horse. And he led many attacks into what was called the Empire. And I don't know if this is depicted against the Empire, because we very much only see the army of the dead here. I mean, that might be a high elf mage. Might be more of the end time sort of work. But that model you can still buy, I believe, of Manfred when he's on a horse. It's just got Vampire Lord on Nightmare, I think they call it, the undead horse from memory. But no, and the reason why I really like these ones is if we compare it to what I was saying earlier, just the sort of the sketchy nature, you know, like the horse here, but you see like the flesh and stuff, the dark magic sort of just like flaying off him, all that sort of thing. It just feels a bit more rougher and a bit more, when it's a bit drawn a bit more rough. And like I said, I don't want to say it in a bad way because it's not. It just feels more, you know, the dirt and the gritty of battle. You know, like vision in the heart of battle is not going to be perfect, anything like that. It's going to be grainy, all these sorts of things. The other cool thing about this is when it's like drawn like this, I feel like it makes the picture look more animated, more moving, because you know this spear is getting thrust forward. Probably this is moving very fast. You know, like these ghosts are moving incredibly fast over here. He's wielding magic. All this is going on. It's not going to be, if we compare it to this one, like I said, very nice picture. If we compare it to this one, it's a lot more sharper edged, shall we say. Oh, probably that's not really the best example. Let's go to a better example of what I mean by this. Okay, this picture, yeah, this feels a very much sharper edged, whatnot. You can see, you know, very much outlined, and that looks a lot more neater, in all fairness. But if we compare that to that, it just feels a lot more alive, and you know, it's undead, so it's funny that it just feels a lot more animated. I think is the best way to describe it. And pardon. And this is the sort of artwork I saw as a child, and very much inspired me to get into Warhammer and see it all. And that's why I also like it for nostalgia reasons. And it was Paul Danton and did a lot of this sort of style of artwork, which is what's made me like his the most. But yeah, so really nice picture from Manfred there on the horse, and I hadn't seen this picture for a long time, so it makes me feel like not a lot of people have seen this picture, but I might be wrong on that. But yeah, really nice picture, one of my favourites in this whole book. Okay, and then this is another one of Nagash. So we've got Nagash in his throne there, and then we've got Nagash of when he's been reincarnated, and this is called Legions of Nagash by Kevin Chin. This is one of the first artwork pages we have in the Legions of Nagash Battle Tome. I think the first new one we got, and it really shows the power of Nagash in, you know, his state of death. And I know I said in the last one it shows like him all powerful from the throne. This really just shows like how he's not just a physical being. He's literally, you know, I want to say the embodiment of death, but it just goes against what I said. He's literally death incarnate, isn't he, at this point? Not just, like I say, a physical creature, but beyond his like destruction of his body, he will always live on, because, you know, we've got the forms of his legs and his arms. It's obviously a very traditional skull there with, like, you know, helmet and pope hat, if you like. All these undead bats and creatures and all these zombies and stuff being fed into him. And skeletal steeds, obviously, and the Morgus Archive. And what's cool about this Morgus Archive, so we got how do we say it? We've got Jack here. He's, you know, very good. He works hard, all that sort of thing. Works in Nagash. Been working for Nagash for a long time. And then he's got his mate called Dave, who's been looking for a bit of work, been struggling a bit lately. But Jack says he'll get Dave a job at his place of work, but it's quite hard. But, you know, if he works hard, he'll get a good living wage, or a good undead wage, if you like. So then we have Dave over here doing his best, got his long spear, made out of bone. He sort of copied him, which is quite nice, you know, hooing him on. Jack saying to Dave, you know, how you getting on? How's your first day going? He says, no, it's quite hard work, mate, but it's good, you know. I just didn't realise the amount we would be shooting in today. He says, yeah, it's getting more and more each day. We have bigger targets we're trying to achieve, but don't worry. If you just keep putting the work and the effort, you'll be able to achieve it, no worries. And sort of, you know, you won't get noticed too much by the big man, and, you know, in a good way, and then you should get some sort of maybe promotion sometime down the line. Just keep up the work, and all will be well. So that's why I like this picture. It has all the sort of hidden stories in it. And then we have a White King by John Michabach. Probably not pronounced right, but anyway. So yeah, the White King. This is alright. So this is a nice artwork, but the White King in game is absolutely terrible. So it's like one of those where it's really nice artwork, but he's terrible in game. So I don't really want to talk about him much. But no, it shows, you know, like, because White Kings sort of, you know, undead kings and warlords. We very much think of the skeletons as just being, oh, they haven't got a mind of their own. And by death rattle, you know, the undead, they just follow whoever, you know, animates them. That's not strictly true. They very much have their own personalities. From even just the skeleton warrior all the way up to a White King, like his warlord, he's very much got his own intentions of keeping the kingdom that he, or trying to re-establish the kingdom that he had in life, and try and have it in death, and try and expand upon it. And now that he is undead, you know, he's annoyed about being undead, but he does see the bonuses it gives to his durability and trying to expand his realm onto his former enemies who are the living, and now that he is undead, he's got a bit more of an advantage. So yeah, I do quite like that. Also, the White King was my first hero model that I painted up, which I very much liked, and it's cool to see him have some artwork. And also what's cool was that it, like, again, very much drawn as, you know, and the artist's work here, it's very much done how the model is. You know, the kit is, it's not like, oh, he's got a different shield and he's got like a cooler helmet, or, you know, like crown and he's got like a different, nicer sword. No, it's very much done exactly how it is on the, you know, the model itself, apart from the cloak should be around this way wrapped around the shield. But, you know, that's fine, we'll let off that. And also, like, I just want to say, you know, things like this, like, for, you know, it's often depicted in a lot of the death artwork. We've got these huge, like, undead. I say undead sculptures. I mean, well, that could be an undead creature, but I mean, it's more like, you know, a statue made out of bone and all that sort of thing. Would be absolutely. We see that a lot of stuff in the Flesh Eater Court books, well, but it would be absolutely awesome to have like some scenery kits. Now, I think it would be amazing one day. Games Watch did that. I don't know the Argon decks as they were. I think they would have done it in the Nighthawk release, but you know, might see. I mean, we're still waiting for graveyard scenery models and stuff, aren't we? I'm just at the point in the battlefield, and then the scenery kits that will come out for Nighthawk at some point. We could see that. Right, so this one is of the Rise and Nagash by Paul Danton again, so you can see what I mean by how I like the artwork as well. It just looks very animated, you know, got the high elves here. Death here, we got Arcan the Black there, bringing back his big daddy, best pal, into reality, essentially. What's cool, so we got, again, this battle scene shows a story, because we've got, obviously, so amongst all this conflict as well, you can see that this battle goes on for ages and ages and ages and ages and ages, all the way, you know, over here. For miles and miles and miles, and just really shows like a scale of just how big these conflicts are. Even when you look at our past, you know, like, I don't know, like medieval warfare and stuff, and you had like thousands upon thousands of men, you know, charging, attacking and killing each other. And that would be a very big battle scene, but obviously in fantasy you can extend that and expand upon that, and it just makes it absolutely count, like hundreds of thousands of people, you know, fighting. It's just, that's the lovely thing you can do with fantasy, you can exaggerate things. So anyway, so we've got all this going on, fighting against, you know, the undead legions here, and then it all centers down, so it's almost like a tail, you know, you come all the way from here, all the way here, it gets, you know, more clear and get Morse engine on. So all these little things don't, you know, notice you got Morse engine there, like motor engine there, Blood Knight there, you know, like a Wraith there on a, you know, here Steve, soldiers being pushed off the cliff there, all very nice things. Come around here, and you get to here, and then it just centers in the whole point of what this is all about, and that's the main focus point, obviously, of Arcana Black raising the gash up. So I think that's cool, and I think it's portrayed very well. That's one of my favourite artworks as well, because when I've seen this before, I'll be honest with you guys, I've only seen this page of it, so if we get rid of that, just this page here, and that's what I really just thought it was. Oh, it's just some legions in the gash, basically, or back then, just some skeletons. Arcan, bring back the gash, that's it. But then when you see this picture, it actually just brings the whole scale of what is actually going on to it, which is cool. We've got, you know, magic going on, you know, very nice. Light versus darkness, even though that these are the good guys, and high elves you could say are the bad guys, because they're very much they see themselves like ethnic purity and all that sort of thing. You know, they are the best race, every other race is just a bit smelly. So we've got that, and we've got 9 portents, Realm Shrive by Paul Danton. So this is, again, quite nice. You know, it's very much got haze to it, all that sort of thing. And you see it and you just think very much of Realm, and then we've got, you know, like a Necromancer there sort of thing. Which is cool, because this Necromancer here is not, you know, your traditional one. It very much shows, like, instead of just being, you know, he's got a staff where it's got some skulls hanging from it, and he's got a cloak, you know, that hence a Necromancer. Is, you know, it shows, like, you know, like we've got the looks to be maybe like some sort of like a symbol here, and like how people basically, how culture has developed in these realms, and how people, you know, even from their fashion to how they dress, all these sorts of things really just come into it. And then we got some necromantic circle here, some sort of sacrifice, and we've got some ghoul creatures here, and then we've got the hazed out here with the, you know, like the black sun and all that sort of thing. So yeah, nice one there from Paul Danton. And the other thing, because it's from the Realm Charge and Malign Portents, this is when we really just started to explore what we can see, like what I showed on the other page that's coming up,
this is our first insight to see what the realms basically look like, and this is when all the maps came out and stuff. So it's nice to see the artwork that portrays that, because back before this came out, especially if you're very new to Age of Sigmar, before this sort of artwork came out of the realms, it was very vague. It was very abstract. Actually, Age of Sigmar is still abstract to the point that I do like, though, because it gives you a lot of freedom when building your own base, as I've done when I talked about my own lore for my armies, which I've done a video for. You guys can check on that. But also what we've got here is that it just made it not too abstract anymore, because that's the big problem. It's like with Age of Sigmar, it's like, oh, we haven't like drawn any maps or anything, we haven't like shown what anything looks like, so you can be really creative. Yeah, but a lot of people, like myself included, I like to have like a foundation to work with, and not just going like, oh, it can just be really crazy. And it's, and I'm sure they weren't being lazy, the writers and stuff, because they're not, and they're very nice people. But it sometimes felt like they were, because it was just like, right, so you get rid of all that world of fantasy, and you haven't really got much lore ready for like the next bit, which was Age of Sigmar. But it has hugely improved since then, and as we can see, just by having artwork and stuff, seeing what the realms look like, make a massive difference. Cool, and then we've got another one here, which is my importance. It's Realm of Shaiish again. So this is another picture of the Realm of Shaiish. Obviously, like it's very sort of, like, again, the drawing style. It's very sort of distant, but we've got, an upside down, like pyramid sort of thing here with an other sacrifice, and it makes it look very grim and dark, which is nice. We imagine this is what the Realm of Death looked like, maybe. Or we might just think it's just a realm of bones and skeletons, and skulls and all that sort of thing. But it's nice to see like how, it's not just he just woke up there with a spike in him sort of thing. It's like, no, that would have been done for a reason. The same with this one. The row of all these corpses here would have been done for a reason. Like, why are the ghouls here? Is this like where they live? Is this where they come to get food? You know what I mean? It's like, is this part of their culture? They sacrifice to the ghouls. Especially of course, who knows? But it just gives those, it makes you ask those questions, which is cool. And then this one we have is another my importance for Realm of Shaiish, very nice again. I won't focus too much on this, because I've already talked about why I think it's cool, but no, it just shows more details what the realm looks like. My importance for Realm of Shaiish again, and yeah, it just shows a like dockyard, doesn't it? Because we can see the docks there, like buildings, structures, of like cultures in the Realm of Death. We've got here, so that was just called my important, yeah, it was. So we've got Leafus, a Realm of Shaiish, Paul Danton. So this, one of my favourite artwork pieces we have, because this doesn't just show a ruined city with, corpses and animated dead walking around. Doesn't just show that. It doesn't just show like, a legion of skeletons and all that sort of thing marching through, like I said, like a ruined empire or something from what Nagash destroyed. This actually shows how people live in the Realm of Shaiish, how people live under Nagash's rule, essentially. Like all the building abstract house, and this is why you've got a vampire there maybe, and it shows that how the dead and the living, not live amongst each other, because that wouldn't be the right word, would it? But coexist with each other. Which I could be wrong. These all could just be vampires, and they could all just be undead. But I don't think that is what it is. And it show like guards. It just adds so much detail into how people live in the realm of Shaiish. And that saying, what is it? A picture can say 1,000 words sort of thing. For me, this is it. And it just shows how not really citizens at this point, but more like citizens live under Nagash's rule and rules of vampires and all that. Because a lot of the time when we see films or something like that involve vampires, and let's say of, I don't know, Dracula sort of films, Van Helsing, all that sort of thing. It's more of a case of mortals live in fear of this unnatural threat that lives nearby, which is the vampires that feed on them and all that stuff. Nothing mortals can really do about it, but not really owned by the vampires. The vampires just pick on them sort of thing. And then this actually just shows, no, this is what happens when people actually live under the rule of vampires. Very much what Sylvania was, which is, from the old world, the world that was Warhammer Fantasy. And it's nice to see it portrayed here. Very nice, because that's how my empire, for my death, which is the empire, well, the full title was the Impure Empire of Pure Blood, War by Neferatu and so on, which I have described in my lore video. You can go check that out in my videos. but it's really nice to see that transferred into artwork, which is absolutely great. And I haven't, like, again, this isn't an artwork I've seen posted around a lot, so I think it's one of those hidden sort of treasures. And this artwork, I don't believe it's been made for this book. I don't believe that at all, but they haven't showcased it a lot. Right, and then we've got Shades by here by Realm of Shaiish by Paul Danton, and we know Shades by, which is, Warhammer Underworld, all that sort of thing. That is the city down, is the travellers going to that city trying to find all the riches that are inside. Then we've got the Realm of Shaiish by Paul Danton again, which is cool. We've got some necromancers here, maybe doing some sort of exchange here, or sacrifice, or Barton and Pardon, something like that. And obviously this is a traveller's path going through the realm, which is cool. We've got some sort of structures going on back here. It looks like just like a cliff, but no, it's actually some sort of temple or something, which is nice, and an altar there, which that's how I see what that thing is. And it's nice how it's Paul Danton, by the looks of things, who's been doing all this artwork for the Realm of Shaiish, and I think that's quite nice, because although it would be cool if like different artists would have would do the artwork for the Realm of Shaiish, give different impressions and stuff, but when you just give one, it gives a bit of consistency, which is nice. And also for me, like I say, I'm going to be biased, because Paul, Dayton, I say Danton, but I think it might be Dayton, is like, from what I can see from his artwork anyway in this book, is my favourite, so I'm glad he was the one who did this. So we've got a Death Fleet again. This very much brings back like a pirate themed, vampire coast army, sort of thing. You've got a fleet of the undead. We've got, so these could be birds, but more lines of like bats flying around, vampire bats and all that sort of thing. And there's a fleet of ghost ships, basically. Like something like that's not structurally sound, does it? It very much feels like Pirates of the Caribbean, that sort of thing. But no, it's really cool, and just gives loads of inspiration, if not anything else. So yeah, that's very cool. Of course, like some of these pictures I'm flicking through quicker than others, and if you ever want to pause stuff and see some areas, like we've got like the patient ones, it's not the best thing, but if you ever want to do that, to have a look at things, crack on. And then here again we have another picture like the one we had at the start of Nagash. We've got a picture of Manfred, and these, like I said, the portraits, I will show you the one of Nagash again. So this is the one of Nagash, and then these are from the end times. Nagash's one, Manfred's one, very nice coloration, very much just black and white, almost different gradients of those colours. And then we have the blood that really sort of brightens it up, sharpens it. But again, looks very I don't think realistic. It's not the right word to use to describe this, because obviously this is a vampire dripping in blood with massive fangs. But it just gives it that sort of, it looks more sketchy and stuff, but just trying to find the right word to describe it. Just makes it feel more, less bold or something along those lines. Just less, it looks like artwork. It looks like this has been drawn by a person. And with that, it looks more sinister, how it's being done, and it doesn't look, okay, lack of everything, like a better word and everything else, it doesn't look cartoony, which I think is cool. It looks fucking, I'm just going to say it looks realistic, because that's not the right word, but that's the word I'm going to use. So this is Manfred von Carsten, Mortarch of Night by Paul Danton. So again, Paul Danton, really do like his art and work style. This is one of my favourite pieces I have. I've actually got this picture up in my room, like framed and all that sort of thing. This, of course, is Neferata, Mortarch of Blood by Paul Danton, my favourite vampire and potentially my favourite character in the whole of Warhammer, because she is the first vampire. Her story is absolutely awesome. I may, go into a story at some point, because it is really great. There are already fantastic YouTubers who have done really good tellings of her story, and I don't really want to go into here because talk about it for ages. So if you want to find out more about her and why I really like her, look at just search up Neferata lore on YouTube, and you get some great YouTubers who have already done some videos on her, and she's absolutely great. Right, and then we also have can't even say the name right. Arkan the Black Mortarch Sacrament, which is Nagash's second-hand man, which is, I've seen this artwork picture before, and I'll be honest, it was on sale on Facebook. I didn't get enough time to be able to buy it. However, I wasn't too sure who it was. I didn't have any description. The guy didn't know who it was, the artwork, the picture of, and it looked like it could have been Cetra. To me, it doesn't really look too much like Arcan because his headdress looks wrong, and that's a big part of it. Because if you take away the headdress, you know, the other identifying feature, all we have is just a skeleton with a very large open jaw. So it's nice for me anyway to have seen that is actually Arcan the Black. And we've got that, and then we got some of these nicer, more Warhammer Fantasy Vampire Count artwork coming up. So we've got Neferata again here by Alex Boyd. Very nice there. Like I say, Neferata's a favourite character. We've got Just a Vampire here by Paul Dayton, which is quite cool. I'm trying to think out which one it is. It doesn't look like a Blood Knight or anything. It looks like it's more from the car and stuff from like the Tomb Kings, because it looks like these are scarab beetles that are like attacking the vampire and trying to kill him, which is like the Tomb Kings versus not the vampire counts but vampires in general. That's how it looks like to me, because you know you've got the fingers and stuff coming off there by looks of things. But no, so that's cool. And then this is one of the classical pictures, more classical than the one I showed you earlier of the zombies. This is one of simply called Skeleton Legion by Adrian Smith, and I'm sure most of you, if you're, even common Death fans or, definitely huge Death fans, that sort of thing, you would have seen this picture before. And again, this is one of the pictures that I saw as a kid that inspired me to really like skeletons and death and all. It's a weird thing to say, like when you're a kid, but no, really like the vampire counts. You know, we got a vampire, very much like Count Dracula, sort of, like Eastern European, fantasy inspired, dark evil castle. Here we've got the bats flying from it, simulate vampires and all that sort of thing. And then we got the Undead Legion here, which is really, really quite cool. And so it's just nostalgia reasons, really like this. And then moving on to the next one we've got, these are more sort of like unit portraits. So we've got the Banshee by Paul Danton here. Very cool. It looks absolutely, a Banshee, sometimes when they're painting up these days, they just look so much like a field green painting, all that sort of thing, that a lot of people miss out the details. And I think there's very much, although it is very much field green, like the cloth and stuff, the clothing is painted very much like neutral tones, and it very much just shows how scary it is by the size of her teeth. If her scream doesn't kill you, it will be the teeth indeed. And then again, this is Crypt Horrors. It's titled Crypt Ghoul by Paul Danton, and that is a crypt horror. I'm sure most of you guys are aware that's a crypt horror. It's not a crypt ghoul that is written here. That's a crypt ghoul there, and that could be one there, and that's one there, but that is a crypt horror, and that's a crypt horror, and that's the thing. I don't know if that's a typo or a mistake or something, or I don't want to say Paul Dayton doesn't know what he's drawing, because I'm sure he's a very good person and he does know what he's drawing, so I think that is just a typo, or it's like crypt ghoulish creatures maybe, but there's a crypt horror for sure. I also know it's a crypt horror because I've already built like £400 worth of like crypt flare kits and all that sort of thing, and that is on the front of the instruction manual for the crypt horrors. So yeah, I only know that's a crypt horror for sure. And then we have the Flesh Eater Courts, Paul Dayton as well. So this is cool, just shows a very sort of macabre feel of the Flesh Eater Courts and the cannibalistic nature. We've got one there. Even though I've seen this picture so many times, because this was on the, I say on the Battletome for them, it's actually on the old Battletome, isn't it now? The 18.1 Battletome that came out just for the German's Handbook. And I used that Battletome so much because I played Flesh Eater Courts so many times back in the day. And again, Flesh Eater Courts was the first Death Army to get updated since Age of Sigmar came out. So this was the first sort of book we got with death artwork in it. So that's why it played a huge part in shaping how we see death today. And then we got another one here of the Ghoul King and Nagash by Alex Boyd. So Nagash and the Ghoul King. When I say the Ghoul King, I think this is also meant to be the Carrying King. It doesn't say it is, but Nagash and the Carrying King don't really get on, shall we say. There's a big story behind that. I've already explored that in the lore for Flesh Eater Courts. So you want to check out the lore videos I've done Flesh Eater Courts, crack on ahead. There's plenty of them to choose from. So basically, summarise it, the Flesh Eater Courts are more like rebels, they're like sort of like teenagers, and Nagash is the dad, and they don't really want to get on dad, don't want to do what their dad tells them to do. That's a very sort of quick way to describe it. You can see it more on the lore video. But the other reason why I like this is because it shows You know, it shows like Khorne, Blood Warriors and stuff, but also shows like Chaos Warriors down here, Chaos Warrior there, and so on, which is quite nice because they don't really get much artwork these days. But no, so very nice to see there. Right, and then this picture, of course, is going to be the Army of Death by Paul Danton, or Dayton, however it's pronounced. And this is Vampire Count versus Skaven. As we can see, we have got, I believe this is Manfred von Carsten here, upon his zombie dragon. We've got a Mortis engine over here. We've also got, obviously, countless of undead creatures. We've got rat ogres. We've got Skaven machinery. We have got a screaming bell here that's been toppled by the zombie dragon. We've got a clan rat, or could be a storm vermin here with a shield, trying to take on the great vampire himself, but failing horrendously. And then these Skaven sort of like fighting to the death, not out of bravery or choice, but out of the fact that they haven't got anywhere to run to. So they might as well try and do something. We've got a face-off between the zombie dragon and the Skaven. There, we've actually got a Skaven there with this has got a skull for a head. Now, I don't know if that's actually made to be a plague monk, because some of the plague monks are like that. Or that's like the life or what was in that Skaven rat has been drained out of him. It could be that instead. We've got some Black Knights here. You recognise them from the banner, and just so much going on. And that's why I quite like this, because like the more you look into it, the more little things you see. Like I didn't even notice that like little face off we had there, which is cool. Got the zombies down here, but skeletons there, ghosts coming in. Very nice picture indeed, and shows the majesty of death and how grand it could be in Warhammer Fantasy Vampire Counts, and you know how terrifying they could be on the battlefield. So we've got Arken the Black Immortarch of Sakharin, and this is by Fairs Miz. And yep, cool there. So this is very much sort of feels like it's got a Tomb King vibe to it, because obviously we've got Arken, we've got the Mortarchs here, very much feel like Tomb King. Not Mortarch, sorry, Morkai even. And then the Skeleton Warriors. So yeah, nice picture there. We've all seen this one quite a bit, I think. Okay, and then we got some more. Like I say, these are my favourite sort of ones. To sort of, that's great. And you know, like, art is obviously very subjective, but like in my mind, you know, like that's could feel like it's drawn better sort of stuff compared to this, because this feels like a lot more like rougher. But this is the style I prefer. And then so with the Ghoul King by Paul Danton. So this is now point Ghoul King. If you know, if you're AGE of Sigmar, and you don't really know what fantasy was too much. And then we've got Hexwraith here by Paul Dayton again. And it just, you know, this guy's like, you know, like ripping into the heart of some creature, because we've got the blood that's been something in his hand, or no, was it in this hand has been ripping into it, and it's got all the blood flying in the air from it, you know, because you can see an arm there, so it's probably taken it someone who's just killed. And then we've got the Hexwraith here, which just very much fills a field, and like another ghost creature here, you know, charging. You know, it looks like a Hell Rider or something like that, you know, charging towards you would really quite terrify you a lot. We've got a Necromancer here by Paul Danton, obviously doing some crazy Necromancer stuff, which is quite cool, like very much built up and all that sort of stuff, which is nice. Very much looks like the Necromancer you get in the game called Warhammer Total War, which is on the PC. And then we've got a Vampire here by Paul Dayton, who looks like he is for the Blood Knights, going by the colour of his armour, essentially. And is that a bat wing he's got for his arm? It's all quite cool there, looks a bit like the Red Duke. And then we've got Blood Knights here by Paul Dayton. So yeah, we've got Blood Knights here, which is cool, because we've got him, and then we've got the ones behind him. And then we've got all the bats and then Undead Castle there. It's very nice. And then we've got a Vampire here by Paul Dayton. And this is more of a Necroarch, I believe they're called, vampires, which is very much more of the Necromancer, Necromancer. The vampires are very much more on based on magic and necromancy, which they can still rip humans apart, but they focused more on magic and necromancy more than martial prowess. And their whole point for the Necroarchs were they were dedicated to spending their lives to find out a spell that will wipe out all life on the planet. And as essentially back then, before the end times, they believed, you know, to be a eternity to find that spell. At some point sooner or later they were going to find it and wipe out all life on the planet. And if they are still about in AGE of Sigmar, they have got eternity again. So, you know, another threat to all the living creatures out there, from toads to humans. And then we got Conrad von Carstein here. So we talked about Manfred von Carstein, who is here. We've talked about Vlad, and then we've got Conrad, which is basically goes in order of Vlad, Manfred, Conrad. So Conrad is like the youngest vampire, if you like, but he is dead now. And also he was a batshit insane, literally. He was absolutely crazy. But cool at the same time. So Manfred von Carsten here, yeah, a nice artwork picture. I've sort of talked about Manfred and all that sort of thing already, but no, another nice picture here. And like you see, a lot of this is by Paul Dayton. And we got Conrad von Carsten here again, which is interesting. I didn't know this. I've seen this artwork before, but I didn't know it was Conrad von Carsten. I thought it was just going to be another Blood Knight. So no, it's cool to have a name to that artwork. And it looks, like I say, it looks very. I said he was very crazy and all these sorts of things, but in this picture, he shows like the mastery of a vampire at the same time. The black coach here, yeah, that's cool. That's off the old black coach, obviously. I think now it's called, the Legions of Nagash black coach, but it's still nice. It's still cool. It's this artwork is a lot better than the model, shall we say? Moving on to the next one. So we've got Conrad von Carstein. It's Paul Dayton again. So sieging a Empire city by the looks of things, or the Empire trying to siege a vampire count city, something like that. Basically a fight going on between the Empire and the vampire counts. Very nice there. We've got ghouls, Conrad, Graveguard, all very nice. And then we've got a Vampire Lord by Paul Dayton. So again, we've got a lot of Vampire Lords, and you might think I just repeat all the same title, but it just shows how different the Vampire Lords can look from each other. They don't all look the same essentially, which is cool. And then we've got Direwolves here by Paul Dempton. Direwolves, one of the best units in the whole game. Very much honourable mention, so it's very nice to see them here depicted in the book with the same style. Got like the glowing eyes and all that sort of thing. Very nice, showing the undeath. And something about Direwolves is that a lot of people don't like the aesthetics of how Direwolves look, because Direwolves are, a lot of people say, very old models look like beavers and all that sort of thing. I love the look of Direwolves. I think they're really, 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 really nice. So I disagree with all that, and I don't try and kit bash my own or anything like that, because I just really like their models as they are. Mainly because I saw them around when I was a kid, so a lot of nostalgia reasons again. But that is why I really, really like them. And obviously, if you've got your own opinion, you can put them in the chat. If you've got any questions, by the way, guys, you can put that in the chat. You can ask me questions while I'm flicking through this. I'm just flicking through this in the meantime, basically, if you like. Cool. So we've got those tiles. We've got a Corpse Cart here by Paul Dayton, which is, very much shows just how the model is. Normally, I say that, it's not really, because we've got another guy who's listening to Zombie, but no, it's cool, it's nice. We've got a Spirit Host by Paul Dayton, and this is very nice. I think that is horribly scary. If you saw that, it's pure horror, isn't it? Imagine, just going around like a wood at night, everything's pitch black, and then you turn a corner, you saw that in your face, you walk around your house tonight, let's say at night, and it's pitch black and all that sort of, I don't know, you're just getting glass water from downstairs, and when you go into your kitchen, you just turn and you just see that, in the same room as you. Fucking scary as shit, wouldn't it? So no, I think that is really quite scary. And even like the elongated jaw on one of the teeth is what really does it, obviously. Cool. Got a Ghoul by Paul Dayton. Yeah, so that's a Ghoul. Where's the one that they said was a Crypt Ghoul? And it was a Crypt Horror. I want to get this out to show a point. Right, Crypt Horror, Crypt Ghoul, big difference. And it's by the same person, so I believe a typo. It should be called a Crypt Ghoul as well. But anyway, then we have Wraith here, which again, very much I like the Spirit Host. Really scary, sinister, insidious. Very much the same, even more so, I'd say. Like, imagine that thing came after you, just go, fucking hell, I'm just going to try and kill myself before that thing gets me. Look at the blood and say, very nice look to it, again, which I like with Paul Dayton. And then we've got Felbats here, which I think is cool, because Felbats are something, like, you forget about. Are they still in the game? Are they not in the game, Felbats? And then you see, but it's nice to see that they've got some artwork here, which is really quite cool. Because Felbats, remember, they're not bat swarms, they are actually big, gigantic bats. Like the models are about that big. I used to have some, but I sold them basically because my dev collection was massive. I needed a little bit of money, so I got rid of those, but I modelled them quite nicely. I think I've shown them on the channel once upon a time. Maybe I'll put them on Facebook, something like that. But anyway, so yeah, that's cool. And yeah, so we've got, so Ben is saying that I like ghouls. Yeah, ghouls are cool. Obviously, we've got a lot of the artwork in the Flesh Eater Court book. And what I was saying, an interesting thing, Ben, about the Flesh Eater Court book is that that was the first sort of artwork that came out for Death in Age of Sigmar, and it happened to centre around ghouls and stuff, so that's quite cool. Better than the End Times destroyed Warhammer Fantasy. I think I missed the Tomb Kings and stuff. Yeah, I mean, the End Times it destroyed the lore, didn't it, for Warhammer Fantasy and moved it on. Yeah, Tomb Kings and stuff are gone, which is annoying. But what I would say is that I think so lore-wise, I prefer Warhammer Fantasy over Age of Sigmar, 100%. I've said this before. But Age of Sigmar is definitely getting a lot better. And what I would also say is that Age of Sigmar, like game-wise, my opinion, a lot better than Fantasy. Overall, Age of Sigmar is better than Fantasy because if Age of Sigmar hadn't happened, and when I went back into the store after I took a break from Warhammer to get back into Warhammer, if it was still Fantasy, I would have found that game system far too confusing. I would have lost interest basically in the intro game, and then I wouldn't have got back into it, and I wouldn't be here today. So Age of Sigmar, I do owe a lot to it, and I think the game is better. That's my honest opinion. But the lore of Fantasy was really good, but you have still got things like Warhammer Total War and all that sort of thing to immerse yourself into it, and of the like. And I think also, like I say, the lore in Sigmar is getting better. So I'm just going to give things time. If I don't know if you are better or anything, but you know, quite a few people, you know, sorry to start like, oh, I don't like it, don't care, I'm not getting into that, don't like it at all. But then haven't looked at it since and still have the same opinion they did at the start. It has changed massively from when it first came out. Okay, so going back to this, we've got Vampire Pats by Paul Dayton. So these are bat swarms and these are fell bats. Big difference. These are literally the size of a horse or something. So we've got that. And we've got the Vampire Lord by Alex Boyd. Is that the Red Duke? I think it has a Bretonnian helmet, so it could be. We've got the White King here by Paul Dayton. Yeah, cool. But like I said, the White King, not fantastic. Looks a bit like a vampire, so good to know that there is a difference here. And then we've got the Black Pyramid of Nagash by Harley Farrell. Yeah, nice picture. I've only seen this picture basically a lot smaller on the internet before where I can't zoom in. So it's nice to see that we have actually got legions of skeletons coming here. We've got obviously skeleton pikemen. We've got you know, the knights and whatnot coming up here. And then the Black Pyramid, of course, and all the bats and stuff flying around in between. We've got the Army of Death by Alex Boyd. So we've got a, you know, obviously, I would say the Empire, but it looks more barbarian, like chaos even. So anyway, we've got, you know, like a sentry dog here. We've got a direwolf there, a bit bigger. I think that's a direwolf, yeah. And ghouls, zombie dragon, obviously, a vampire lord, you know, crypt flare, or back then it would have been a vargeist or a vampire. And we've got Spirit Host, because the Spirit Host did used to be different than models. It used to be more like that. And Graveguard and whatnot behind. So that very nice picture. We've all seen it quite a bit before, I think. But yeah, very nice. Vlad von Carstein by Alex Boyd. So very much, this is a very nice photo. Like I said, photo. I mean, a very nice picture. Vlad von Carstein, I say, one of the best vampires of all time. Then we've got Isabella von Carstein, who was his beloved, which they basically were in unison. Almost like these are two different artwork here. We can see like differential in colour, but almost like this should be the same artwork, just to show like the union of them. But it's very much nice how they're on the same page, how they did that. But yeah, Isabella von Carstein, Vlad von Carstein, very much, you know, not, you know, in a up and down relationship. Vlad gave his life to try and his, you know, eternal life, furthermore, to try and save Isabella from, I think she was possessed by a noble demon at that point in the end time. So yeah, very much like that. Okay, and then we've got The Black Prince by Alex Boyd. So there we go. That's an interesting looking vampire, isn't it? Very much Flesh Eater Court orientated, but this would have been before Flesh Eater Courts were a thing. So this would have been back in Warhammer Fantasy. And then we have Skeletons versus Druiden here by Alex Boyd. And I'd rather, it's quite hard, isn't it, when you're that short, trying to fight an undead threat. I don't know where that came from. I mean, not very nice, but you know, it's one thing fighting a skeleton creature and it terrifies you, but there's another thing when it's about twice your height, isn't it? And you think, bloody hell, and like it just shows like just pointing that spear into his chest. You know, I don't know how he can't save that. He can't put his shield in front, so he's dead. This guy's like waving. Yeah, he'll probably kill him, but he'll probably get killed by another one. So rather be the skeletons than the Druiden. So we've got that. We've got Soul Wars here. So yeah, very again nice picture, but it's much more bright and colourful compared to, you know, this sort of style. I much prefer this sort of style than this style, if I'm honest. but it's still very nice as well. But that's the difference between Age of Sigmar and Fantasy. Like I said, Age of Sigmar has got a bit more like this lately, but still very much feels like the brightness of this is very much common. But I know that this goes in the front of like box sets and all this sort of thing. So they want it to be bright cover. They want it to be on a shelf. They want it to, catch your eye. That's the whole point of it. If it was the colour of that, you glaze over it probably quicker in the corner of your eye. That would stand out a bit more and catch your eye. So that's probably why they do this. And then we've got Soul Wars here by Mark Holmes again. I say yeah, it's Mark Holmes. Here, cool. This is on the front of one of the smaller versions of the Soul Wars box set, which is nice. Got the Miramon Banshees and the Grey Wrath Stalkers, they're called. Try to remember. And then we've got Manfred, a one cast iron by Mark Holmes. This is a very nice picture. This is one of my favourite ones of Mark Holmes in this book. You've got Manfred here, obviously on Shigaroth, his Dread Abyssal, and then you've got obviously bat swarms up there, or could be fell bats too. Can't really tell from this distance. And we've got Vampire Island Zombie Dragon there, and then we've got obviously Crypt Horror there, Skeleton Warriors all here, and I think it's really mainly because this picture does look like it was done at night time, but it makes it feel like he is the Mortarch of night. I do like in Shigaroth, if you've listened to the audio dramas of Age of Sigmar, which has Manfred and Stormcast into it. If you have seen it, you know what I mean by just mentioning that. That's fantastic, and you learn a lot about Shigaroth, so I very much like this. There you have the cover frame here by Kevin Chin. So yeah, it's quite nice, and it's paired up obviously with the Morse engine by Kevin Chin as well, so you can see how these are done by the same artist, very much the same theme. But he's done another, for a kit that's very incredibly similar, apart from the throne bit's just a little bit different when you build it. Pardon me. He's done a very good job in how he has portrayed these in the artwork to differentiate them from each other, which I think plays a big part in how you see the model once it's built, by seeing the differentiation in the art. So yeah, I think he's done a good job there. And then Fleshy Courts. Here we also, Ben, if you're still listening, these is a massive picture of the artwork for ghouls. And this is what I was saying about before, the scenery for Death's Fleshy Courts. If they made scenery kits, this sort of stuff would be absolutely awesome. You could do so much more. You could actually build Undead City or Fleshy Court City, how they push, even how glorified of a city they think they live in, how they actually, what it looks like, made out of bones and skin and flesh and necromancy and all that sort of stuff. But no, so we've got Crypt Ghouls, we've got Vargulfs, Terragos, obviously Ghoul King on top of it, Crypt Horrors or Haunted Courtier, I believe that is, Crypt Horror. Very nice picture there, and like I say, came out one of the first Death, artwork for Age of Sigmar, so it means a lot. And with that, that is the end of the book. So designed by Games Workshop in Nottingham, and with that we're going to close the book, and that is going to be the end of it. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you've got any questions, stuff, I know you can ask me now before I go. But yeah, very nice book this. Unfortunately, it's limited edition, you can't longer get it. You can get all these pictures online, guys, I'm sure, you can get them as wallpaper for your computers or your phone or whatever, anything like that. But for me, I just like having the book. I like having physical copies of stuff, and the whole, flicking through and the smell you get when you look through this. And you don't just get, like 20 pictures, you get a lot in here. Like, it's taken me quite a bit of time to go through them all. But no, it's very nice, and I don't regret getting it at all. This artwork, I'm a huge fan of artwork. In my room, I've got loads of artwork of Warhammer, and it's quite hard to get Warhammer artwork. It's been a bit easier lately because in quite a few Warhammer Age of Sigmar events, they've been giving artwork away and stuff, but they didn't used to, especially it's quite hard to get fancy artwork. I've got like a map of the old world and whatnot, and lots of other stuff, and portraits and that sort of thing. But yes, I'm a big fan of artwork for Warhammer Fantasy, and it is nice to see all collated in the book. And I thought it was a bit of a surprise when they did this for the store anniversary. And the store anniversary, my store is like one of the last stores to have an anniversary before they update with new stuff. So like this has probably been available for most people for like the best part of the whole year, if not a whole year itself. And then I've only managed to get it in like May time, and when some people probably would have been able to get it in, almost like a year before that. But I'm very happy I got this. Like I said, it costs about £30 expensive, and like it doesn't have any rules in it or anything, any practical purpose. But it's a really nice book to everyone just wants to sit down and have a look through. It's a very nice thing to have a look at, and it has all the artist names, which for me it shows a bit of appreciation towards them. I'm sure they're going to put the artist names anyway, but for me who didn't know who the artist names were, but I really like these pictures from when I was a kid, it's nice to put a for me and myself to give credit to those artists who inspired me to not just collect vampire counts, but inspired me to go into Warhammer all in all. And I know I show some of this artwork stuff when I talk about death, and I have it on the screen. It's an edited video, and so the pictures are a lot more clearer. But I think it was quite nice flicking through the book and doing it. Like I say, this is the first time myself doing like a book review and stuff using the camera that's showing down all that. I say the camera, I mean the iPhone. But it's something that I've learned from doing this, so I would be looking to do some more book reviews, and hopefully they can be a bit better. I don't really want to have the paints and all that sort of thing here. I want to make it a bit more better, but I was quite delayed doing this video because I say stuff got in the way, so I don't want to delay it any further. So I just wanted to crack on you guys, and then I think if I try and get a bit more of this to black it out, maybe it'll be a bit better. I think for that for sure. But something I could do in the future is talk about battle plans and all that sort of thing. Go through like the core rule book, go through the General's Handbook, and like I say, if any of that is illegal and I'm not meant to do that, then it will be a case of I'll do it, and if it is illegal, then they can just shut down the video and make it so no one can view the video, and then that's fine. I'll do it until they say something, because I don't really know how I stand it. Yes, my job does involve law and stuff, but not to this sort of extent. I think this should be fine because Games Workshop doesn't sell this anymore, so I don't know how they can say that I'm cheating them out of money, sort of thing. But General's Handbook may be slightly different, but some YouTubers can do it. I know they're massive YouTubers, so might make a difference, but we'll see. Because I would like to give tactical insight and stuff on battle plans, especially for some of you that don't actually have the core rulebook, because the core rulebook is a pain, isn't it? Games Workshop now for AGE of Sigmar made so many books. You have to bring like 4 books to a bloody game now. They're not small books either. So if I can just review battle plans just to help you guys, so maybe you don't need to take that book to the game. I'm not saying that you don't need to buy that book. Get lots of stuff, nice things in it, and the Sports Games Workshop and all that sort of thing. But just to help you guys out, could be something I do. Like I know, like Mir or Max, in his tournament, I think he said he didn't have access to the core rule book. I think, Max, did you say that? You have access to the core rule book. So if I did some reviews and stuff, I know you've already been to that tournament now, but it might help out other people who are in the same sort of situation as that. So that's something I will be doing in the future more than likely. And it will, if anything, it's a bit shaky. This is a bit blurry and everything. It's not fantastic. You can't see these pictures as clearly as I can and all that sort of stuff. But I will be working on it, trying to make it better. Eventually one day it would be nice to actually have a camera rather than use my iPhone to try and record everything. It would make the quality better, but again, that's what money goes towards when people give money to the channel. All goes towards me saving things up for stuff like that, and haven't been saving that money. So maybe at some point in the future we can get something to try and make this better. If you have just joined or anything, I have just reviewed the Art of Death, which is a art book that has loads of death art in it, and just reviewed about the artist, all that sort of thing, the things I like, the things that inspire me to do death, and how you can use this to sort of inspire you in your painting, all that, in your modelling, all that for death. And for the lore for your army as well, because there's quite a lot of lore which is transferred through the pages. So like I say, a page, or sort of like a picture can tell 1,000 words, very much true in this. So if you do want to watch this video back and you have just joined, can go on to it when this video is uploaded, which will be very shortly. But guys, so I thank you very much for watching this. I hope you have enjoyed it, and if you have, please like, subscribe and comment down below. Tell me like what artwork you liked, anything like that, what you'd like to see. Would you like to see more artwork? Would you agree? Do you agree with the things I said in this video? If you disagreed, tell me why, what are your thoughts and all that sort of thing. And like I say, like, subscribe and comment down below. Massively helps support the channel. It's absolutely free for you guys to do so, and it comes down to the more subscribers and all that sort of thing I get, and there has been an abundance lately, which is absolutely fantastic. Can't thank you guys enough for that. For the people, the old subscribers and the new subscribers, thank you so much. It just helps me be able to get more content out to more people, if you like. So if people enjoy this content, then it helps me to share it and all that sort of thing. If you want to share it in the videos and like that to help stuff out, because a lot of the content I do, like I say, fantastic YouTubers out there and whatnot. But what I like, the stuff that I do, what I try and do with my content is I try and focus on the armies that don't have much. So I do like a lot of, like the first one to mainly talk about, Safe Darkness and whatnot, and try and give like really sort of in-depth, like to precise details of units. But what I'm trying to say is that if I know you've got a mate who play like Wanderers and stuff, and you doesn't feel like there's much content out there, if you ever want to share like the playlists I've done for Wanderers, the complete army review, crack on. Anyway, guys, so I thank you very much for watching this. If you do want to subscribe, it's absolutely fantastic. If you don't want to, you didn't enjoy it, it's absolutely fine, no problems at all. If you do want to support the channel a step further, I've now got a Patreon account, which is a way for you to support the channel, for me to be able to get things on the camera and all these sorts of things, or like we get a better microphone, or get just basically better tones and all that sort of thing for me to be able to review for the channel, and all these sort of things really do help. And on that note, I'd like to thank Max, Martin and Simon very much for your help and all the support of the channel that you've been doing, continue support, and all the other patrons I got on Patreon as well. Thank you very much for your help, guys. And if you can't support on Patreon, that's absolutely fine. I'm just really glad that you came and checked out this video. And so guys, remember, until next time, Nagash is all, and all is one in Nagash. And then we're going to do the traditional bit where I try and unclip the phone to try and end the video, which I try and do, and it's really shaky. So this is where the professionalism stops, if there was any in the first place, and I have to repeat myself at the end. But yes, guys, so thank you very much for watching this, and I'll see you later.